Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today let's go over a Leetcode medium question that I just solved on my own. So this one was kind of a pain in the ass. I sat here for like a good hour and a half, but after all I was able to solve it on my own without any assistance. So I'm pretty proud of that. So let me show you how I did it. Again, this one was not the easiest, but again I still managed to do it. So basically you're given a binary string S and you just want to count the number of ways you can split it. So the number of ones in the left, the middle, and the right are the same. And then just return that integer to this mod, which is going to be 10 to the power of 9 plus 7. So return answer via mod. Cool. So just get a clean slate. So, okay. So basically what we want to do, let's just come up with the brute force approach first. So for I in range length S, for j in range I plus 1 length of S, basically if S of up to I, so before dot count of 1 is equal to the middle, which is also equal to the right hand side, 1 to the end dot count 1, then we can increment our answer, right? So let's run this. I think it's this. Okay, so let's see, j plus 1 plus 1. 1 second, I'm not sure why this is not working, but we just want to split it 3 ways. Right? So they're the same, right? So we're not including I. Perhaps it's like this. So if the number of ones are the same, so again, this question has some pretty nasty edge cases. Is it to -1 perhaps? To -1. Then do it like this. Okay, so this one is a pain in the ass, but let's work through it again. So if the same in this one, second one, and third one, so so up to I, print si. Oh. Okay, -1. What the heck? Okay. Let's see here. +1, including I. 1 to j. So 1. J plus 1 to the end. One, 0, 1. Why is this such weird? 1. This should literally just give us everything we need. 1. Number of ways, yep. This one is quite a pain in the ass. Let's come up with the brute force first. Again, it took me like an hour to do this, but j plus 1 dot count 1. So this, why is it, what? 1, 0? S of I to j plus 1. No. Maybe we do it like this. Let's call this first, second, first plus equals s of I, second plus equals s of j. Print first and second. One, 0. Why are we skipping through this 0 is my question. So 1 comes first. Oh. Cool. So now third. So if first dot count of 1 is equal to second dot count 1 is equal to s of j plus 1 to the end dot count 1. Answer plus equal to 1. And minus 1 because the very end doesn't have anything. So that's our brute force right there. It's kind of a pain, but let me show you how I came up with my own solution to optimize this. So let's let it time out. Come on, let's go. This Leetcode's been very slow recently. Paying for premium and having this experience is not the best, but either way. So let's make some observations. What do we want to do? Well, basically, this is either 1 or 0, right? So let's use prefix sums to count the number of ones up to this point right now, right? So because right now, let's say if s of I, well, let's just go ahead and call this current, and we're just going to scan through s. So if c is equal to 1, then increment by 1, and then let's append this here. So let's print current. So cool. So what that says is now we have 1, 1. We still have 1, 1. Now we have 2 1s in total, 2 1s in total, 3 1s in total. So that's what that's going to let us do is basically just say, okay, so we want to find a wall. So basically now, can we find a wall from this to somewhere here where the end still has another 1? So let's call this cur is supposed to be s of I, or current of I. Let's print c. Cool. So now let's go from j to the end. And now we just want to say, okay, the total number of ones in the entire string is just going to be cur of -1. That's 3, right? So if c is equal to whatever this amount, so current of j minus c is equal to total minus current of j, then that means we found another wall, because total minus the current is equal. And we have to obviously do that because we don't want to go all the way to the end. So basically, okay, we have a section where we can say total minus the current is equal to, so let me just draw a picture, it's probably easier. So 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. So up to -1, do we have anything where we can say this minus this is equal to this minus this? If it is, then we can increment it, right? Because if we see what current is, so we want to find within this subarray where this minus this is equal, basically that number 2 means that 2 minus 1 is equal to 3 minus 2, right? How many of 2's do we have? We have 2 2's, right? So then here we can just say if the difference, because now you can see that 3 minus 1 is 2, if that difference, if that number that makes is equal to, is the same distance away from both, then we want to count how many of those numbers exist, which is 2. So the difference is going to be C of, is tot minus C. So if tot minus difference is equal to, well, C is equal to this one, is equal to difference minus C is equal to this, then we can just say we want to add now, which is just going to be cur of I plus 1 to the end up to not including -1 to get rid of this loop. Now dot count of difference, right? So let's submit this. It's kind of like a binary search where you try to make the number of ones exactly the same in all three by trying to find the point where everything to the right minus this one is equal to this one minus everything to the left. And you get time limit exceeded, but that's because we need to optimize this. So again, up to -1 is because we need to have something to the right, right? There has to be a right part and there has to be a left part. So this is causing the time limit exceeded. So what we have to do is basically, can say now is cur.copy. And if now, then now.pop0 up to -1.copy. So that's basically just pre-processing it. Okay, so let's submit it. So we're just chopping one off of now every time from the left. It's like a pop left on a queue. So this is still a bit slow because dot count is still n. So let's make a counter of now, and then that's before we pop it. So you can just say d of now 0 minus equal to 1. If d of now 0 is equal to 0, then delete it, because we're just keeping track of every single element and how many times they appear in this now array as we chop it off from the right, not including up to -1. So now instead of now.count, we can just say d of diff. That gives us the frequency. And let's submit this. And there you go, passes all test cases. So again, I'm really happy that I was able to solve this one on my own without any assistance, although it is not the most efficient. Again, this is a 33% acceptance rate question, and it wasn't easy for me, but again, just to show you guys how it's done. And hopefully you guys got the core idea and it's not too confusing. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.